Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I know you was expecting my dad, but he'll be here shortly. I just got one question to ask you. Have you accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior? Because if you did, he's the guy you need to talk to.
Hey, what you doing, boy?
I can do it, Dad.
Come on, man.
I can do it.
My show,
I can do it. Wait.
What's going on, y'all? I don't know what this kid's trying to do, man. He's trying to steal the show. But I appreciate y'all, being patient. I had to go do something real quick, so I didn't want to let them take over. But yeah, we're going to get into this video. We got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of questions from you guys I really want to get out in this video. First thing I want to say is I appreciate everybody who ordered the book. I had like 100 books to sell. So I appreciate the people who bought it. They sold out quick. So I appreciate everybody who bought those books. But we're going to get into this video. It's a lot to get into. A lot of questions I want to answer. My account was hacked. I told you guys about that. Everybody in society, make sure you guys check the app for the new calendar. Also, check for the new money videos coming up day after tomorrow. So Sunday, you'll have the money video will be available. You guys can watch that. And the link will be on the app. Also, all links are in the description to, join, sign up, or what have you. So you guys will see that as well. But I want to get to this video and really get into the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. The last video I put out, we got into that. But there's a lot of questions I know you guys asked about it that I really want to touch on, and we're going to dig into those questions, all right? Also, real quick, Merkabah Scholar Society members, make sure you guys reserve your spot for the Kemet trip next year. So Monday is the last day for you guys to reserve. You guys got the link. We got to fill those spots up, and they're filling up quick, so make sure you guys reserve your spot. Everybody who's in the society, if you're trying to make the trip next year to Egypt, you guys have the link. I sent out emails. Make sure you guys go ahead and reserve because this is it. This is going to fill up. So make sure you guys reserve. And remember, if for any reason you guys can't make the trip next year, it's fully refundable. So you guys can get a full refund by May. You guys got the email. All the instructions are in the email. Make sure you guys go ahead and reserve and get that out the way. All right? Because I know a lot of people ask about it. So yeah, let's get into this video.
Yeah, so a lot of people say that Black people are the true Jews. And I just what does that even mean for real? Who are the true Jews?
Yeah, so who are the true Jews? And we're supposed to be the Jews of the Bible. And one of the things I want people to come away with when they read the Bible is the mission, the story of what the Hebrew Israelites were doing as far as conquest, right? So when they're out conquering, remember, God tells them to go out, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, right? The Canaanites, Girgashites, go and utterly destroy all these people. And it's like, okay, so they're going out to destroy these people for what? And they don't really give us an explanation except for these people are supposed to be evil and worshiping a different God, right? So what were we worshiping before the Bible? How can you kill people for not worshiping you when there is no religion that says they should worship you? There's no doctrine saying that we should worship you. There's no angels that's coming to these people saying, hey, worship the one true God or he's going to come and kill you. Right. So these people don't even know, what's going on. They're just getting slaughtered for no reason, right? So who are the true Jews? So when you go and you read in the Bible, you read in the whole conquest of the Israelites, and you read all those tribes I just named, the Jebusites and the Hivites and the Girgashites, what have you, you find out that these people go back to Ham, right? Ham is the progenitor of the black race, according to the Bible. That means African people come from the line of Ham, right? So you look at that and you notice that the people that's being conquered in the Bible, these tribes, go back to black people, right? So you got to think to yourself, well, if black people are the true Jews, how is it that the Jews are going out and killing black people in the Bible? Right? It don't make sense. So you saying that it was black on black crime before, black on black crime, and it don't make sense because then you got to ask yourself, well, how are they able to decipher who was who if everybody's black in this whole fight, right? It don't make sense. You got to go and look at real history and who was actually conquering during that time, right? Makes sense, right?
Exactly. That's why you got to do your research.
You got to do your research. And if you look at actual history and you see that, one, the Greeks are out there conquering around this time. The Greeks are the ones who are out there conquering the people in this land that we call Northern Africa, right? And in Europe as well. And in reality, those lands belong to black people and they were conquered. And that's what the Bible is alluding to, that God ordained these people or gave these people permission or the power to go out and take our shit, to take our land, kill our people, take our wealth or what have you, enslave us. And it's all justified because it's in the Bible. So it don't really fit. So when they say, who are the true Jews? Are we the true Jews? What does that mean? It means that you got to look at history and see what history is showing us as who these people actually are. Exactly. And you won't be able to find the biblical Jews in actual history. But what you will find is African people being slaughtered, being raped, being put into slavery, put into bondage or what have you. And they would be indoctrinated into what we know today as Judaism. And they were sent out to go and spread that. So it's exactly what history is showing us. When we get the inception of the Septuagint, it's given to us by Greeks, right? When we get the inception of the Bible, it's given to us by Greeks. It's written in Greek, right? Even though Rome, the one who kind of introduced it. But you start to follow that history and you see that this is a cover-up of what actually happened to black people during that time. And us being the true Jews, there's a lot more to it than just saying, you know, as black people. You got to look at the history and figure out what that means. And we're going to get into it.
So what about all the artifacts in history that people say proves that we are the true Jews?
Good question. Good question. So artifacts are what artifacts, right? So the artifacts that exist that's out there today is mostly shards. So you have shards of pottery that don't prove nothing. You have some writings that's like, they call it a Paleo-Hebrew that's never been proven. But you got the big stuff, right? The Mary and Ptah stela, which you guys see me in Egypt with that stela. You have the Tel Dan and everything that supposedly proves these biblical stories and the fact that the Hebrew Israelites existed during a certain time, right? So you guys know, I always tell you guys, right? We can't prove the existence of the Hebrew Israelites or the biblical Hebrew Israelites, I should say, before the 4th century BC. Really the 2nd century BC, but we know the 4th century BCE and on, there's really no proof. And it's speculative during that time, right? So the artifacts they have, it's like none of it has been 100% proven to belong to any biblical Jews. So this is the argument that we're going to have, right? Because people are going to say they're talking about Jews, right? But we're talking about the biblical Jews. Okay. Yeah, of course, black Jews existed because we know we can prove they existed. Exactly. But are these black Jews the people that the Bible is speaking about? No, completely different. There's the biblical Jews that's in your Bible who did all the stuff, carrying the Ark of the Covenant and everything like that. And then there's the real Jews who existed and walked around, the black people who was out spreading that doctrine that they was indoctrinated to spread. This is where people are getting confused. So when they're talking about history, people start using words like historically accurate, right? Or they start using words like this stuff has been proven and it's backed up by history because it's historically accurate, and it's not. Historically accurate doesn't mean proven. It just means it's historically proven to the time period, right? So you can do a period movie and it could be about the Wild West. And they'll say, well, this is historically accurate because the clothes that you're wearing in the movie fits what they was actually wearing during that time, right? So that's what historically accurate means. The Bible has historical accuracy because the things it's talking about in the book, we know back then they was actually doing it. The food that they ate, the rituals they was doing, not hard to figure out what they was doing during that time, but none of it proves the story. So you can't say just because they was, sacrificing lamb or what have you, the entire book is true. Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, nah.
Right? You can't say the entire Bible is true because they found a shard with some carving in it that a bunch of researchers and scientists can't agree if it's Paleo-Hebrew or not. Right? So it's a lot of stuff and artifacts that's out there that we can't really prove 100% belongs to anybody biblical or proves the Bible. One of the biggest ones we're going to get into is the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? So I'll show you guys the Dead Sea Scrolls in museums all over the world have been proven to be fakes, forgeries, right? The biggest one that people goes to because supposedly there are some manuscripts within the Dead Sea Scrolls that predate the Septuagint Greek. And as I always tell you guys, there is no Hebrew manuscript that predates the Septuagint Greek. And there isn't, right? We haven't found one. But they say some in the Dead Sea Scrolls do, and we know it's bullshit, right? Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls that they have that they say are authentic, we never got our hands on them. They don't allow the public to touch them. We never seen them. So we don't know. We just got to take their word for it. But you got to think about that. How is it for so long that these museums around the world have been able to fool people into believing that the Dead Sea Scrolls were real? And when the scrolls first came out, remember, they were selling leaves, which is a page. They were selling them on the black market. So if this is a holy book that's real and existed, why would they be selling it off?
Yeah,
it don't make sense, right? So you gotta look at that. And then when you go and start researching all of the so-called artifacts and Mary Stella, there's a whole bunch, I did a whole video on that. When you start researching all this stuff, what you're going to find is going to go back and it's going to either say that it is believed to be, right, or it's inconclusive, meaning all scholars don't agree. There's not enough, proven, information or proven science to prove it. And still, at the end of the day, none of it proves the entire book. Right. It just don't. It don't even prove the story that the artifact pertains to. It just don't. It just exists and it's a question mark. And that's what you'll find with every single artifact. As far as history, there is none, right? Yeah. There's no real, it's a book. It's what's in the book. Nothing in the Bible we have been able to prove story-wise outside of the Bible, meaning all those stories are just stories in the book. We can't find these stories in real life. We can't find in real life Moses parting the sea, right? We can't find in real life Elijah and Elisha having flying fire chariots and shit like that, right? Samson, because his hair is long, superhuman strength, right? But we can parallel all that stuff to what? Greek mythology.
Exactly.
Greek mythology. So we can go back and find Greek mythology before all this stuff, pair it with the biblical stories and say, hey, you know what? This came first, so this must be where they got it from. So it's a lot of stuff you guys got to look at. And when you get these questions, and when people say to you guys, like, hey, we have this proof, and you say, prove it, because they can't. Okay, so show me what you're talking about. And then you go and you read, and you'll find out that it's not proven. And that's one of the things people like to kick all the time, say, this is proven. This is, it's been proven. We find the wills and the pharaohs and the Red Sea and shit like that. No, it's all bullshit. We found Noah's Ark. No, it's bullshit. So you got to do your research.
And that's the thing. A lot of people use the Bible to prove their point when the Bible itself has never been proven. So how can you prove your point? It doesn't make sense.
That's a good point. So, and that's the thing. So when I talk to a lot of Hebrew Israelites, man, you guys already know. You see these people in the corner. They pull their Bible out. Read this verse. Read this verse. And that's their comeback. Is that Bible verse. And they read it loud. And yeah, I don't care how loud you read the verse. I don't care how proud you sound. It's not proven, dude.
Not right.
It's not proven. It's like, dude, you got to prove the verse. Okay, that sounds good enough. But where's the proof? Exactly. So where's those artifacts? Where's the history that back up that verse? It's not there. So what we come to when we get into this whole thing, I always say this, it's always going to come down to faith and belief. At the end of the day, we can argue back and forth all day. And you can believe what you want to believe. I believe what I know. And you're the one who have to walk away, right? You have to walk away with belief and faith. Exactly. I'm going to walk away with proven facts and common sense, right? So whatever you bring to the table in that argument, you can't back it up with proof. You can only back it up with your faith, with your heart, with your feelings and emotions, right? Exactly. And what I say is going to hurt your feelings, which is why we get into these arguments. And your feelings and emotion, they don't hold up to scrutiny and cross-examination, plain and simple. You can't prove it. Just because you feel some type of way about a book doesn't make the book right. So one of the things I hate that the Hebrews do is they say, well, the reason why the doctrine doesn't make sense to you is because God haven't given you the message or God hasn't filled your heart. You don't believe in the book because you can't believe, because you're an Edomite, right? Or what have you. God hasn't given you the feeling or the spirit of knowledge to know what the book actually says. And it should be making sense sometimes. You're like, damn, maybe he's right. Maybe I need to speak to God. Maybe I need to pray a little bit harder because that sounds good. But I know it's some bullshit because, 1 + 1 = 2, no matter what. I could be the ugliest motherfucker on the planet. 1 + 1 going to equal 2, right? I could be the most cold-hearted. It's still going to equal 2, right? That's all I need to know. So it doesn't matter what you feel like I am because I don't believe what you believe. What matters is the proof, right? This is why we have courts. This is why we have courts, and this is why two civilized people walk into a courtroom and argue a point, right? You bring your proof, I bring my proof, and then we present it to a jury of our peers. We have a judge to basically referee the shit, and then game on. Whoever proves their point wins the argument, right? At the end of the day, you got to bring your proof. You got to bring your stuff to the table. And
And
I'll bring my stuff, you bring your stuff.
And that's the thing. Like when it comes to just the definition of believe, it's just to have 100% faith without 100% proof of what you know. That's just the true definition of believe. You can look that up right now. So
it's like you have to believe, right? I mean, think about that, man. So, if somebody come up to you and say, hey, I got $100 bill, I'm gonna give you change, right? You're going to examine that $100 bill. I use that analogy all the time. You're going to check it out, right? Make sure it's right.
That marker.
That's real. That's right. It's a real legit bill. You're not going to take his word for it. You're not going to have faith in this person because he says, I have the bill, because he showed you the bill. You're going to check it. If you're smart, you're going to check the bill and make sure it's legit before you pill out, change, right? And this is all we're doing. So when people get on us or on you guys and be like, oh, we're just evil people, or we just want to sin, that's why we don't believe in the book and in the doctrine, or we're cursed or what have you. You're just a person who is checking your bills before you exchange it for money, right? You're just checking your shit. This is something that is so serious. And we're actually talking about your soul and the afterlife and eternity or what have you. How the fuck are you not going to do research on that, right? How are you not going to look into it? Somebody saying, hey, you're going to burn forever. If you don't say, you know what, let me go check this out, because he might be right. And you're going to go and do your research, because we're talking about something serious here. And that's all we're doing. We're checking our research. We're reading the book, and we're figuring out, what's true or not. And you're going to come to a conclusion. And this is what we found in that whole journey in our research. Plain and simple.
So then, Dad, what about the Ethiopian Bible? A lot of Black people say that was the first original Bible that we wrote.
Yeah. The Ethiopian Bible, a lot of people get confused. And a lot of Hebrews don't use it really, because it's going to kind of like mess up their situation. But the Ethiopian Bible, so when most people are researching the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, Black people, and they're trying to really go back and find the history, what have you, you're going to come across the Ethiopian Bible. It's hard not to. And then you see this book, and it's old, and it's like, man, this is a Bible in Africa. So we had to have had the Bible before everybody else, because this is the oldest Bible in existence, right? No, it's not. So the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest illustrated Bible. It's not older than the Septuagint Greek, right? It's not older than the Vetus Latino or Latin Vulgate or, what everything St. Jerome put out. It's not older than the Septuagint. And the Ethiopian Bible was written by Abba-Garima, who was a Byzantine royal. You guys know I talk about this a lot. And Abba-Garima basically, he copied, well, you understand through the research, the Abba-Garima Bible, which is in an Abba-Garima monastery in Ethiopia. That book that they have, he copied from a Greek manuscript. So it's not even all him. It was copied from a Greek manuscript, which predates the Ethiopian Bible. So it is not the oldest book. It is the oldest illustrated book. When you look at the book, it is illustrated beautifully, got color pictures and everything like that in there. It looks good. It's dope. But look at the photos in there. A lot of the guys are white. And, he was a Byzantine royal himself, Abba-Garima. Monastery is named after him. It's just a lot of misinformation on the internet about that book being the oldest. And it doesn't really pertain to the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, because, it's separate. I mean, it's a completely different doctrine from what they're teaching. And more so goes towards, Christianity, what have you, when you look at that. So even still, King James Version, Christianity. But as far as the teachings from each book, you're not going to walk in Ethiopia and they're going to be saying the same shit as the Black Hebrews on the corner, right? And when you do the research on the manuscripts themselves, which I put a whole video out on that, then you understand what the manuscripts is about. So yeah, Ethiopian Bible, not the oldest Bible. Black people did not write it. It just was given to us by a white man, just like all the other Bibles we had. And and that's basically what happened with that whole thing.
So what about the King James Version? I heard King James was supposed to be Black.
Yeah. That's what the Hebrews want you guys to believe, right? That King James was a Black man, and that King James gave us the true, right, inspired or closest to Hebrew version of the Bible with the King James Version, right? And it's just the King James Version. And the thing is this, and you guys know, King James Version written between 1604 and 1611, right? Slavery was already going on. The whole premise, or let's say the whole grit of the Hebrew Israelite doctrine is around Deuteronomy 28, right? Especially 28:68. But when you read Deuteronomy 28 and you're reading it, there again, I agree with it. There is no people on the planet that fits Deuteronomy 28 more than black people. It is clearly talking about black people and African slavery, clear as day. There's no way around that. The thing is, you got to remember that it was written between 1604, 1611, when slavery was already going on. Slavery was already in full swing.
Right.
So they already knew about the yoke of iron. They already knew about what was happening to the slaves or what have you. So these are questions I get a lot, and I answered a lot of these questions. But it's important to know that with the King James Version, it's not that he had a spirit put on him, because that's what they want you to believe, that God put a spirit on King James to give him a clarity, to give us a true translation. King James ain't write shit. Scribes wrote it. Scribes did it's not like King James sat down. Like, you see the pictures of St. Jerome when he writing. St. Jerome did that. St. Jerome copied himself. And he changed the Septuagint, right? But with King James, he didn't do nothing.
He was a phony.
He was commissioned to do this. He got Sir Francis Bacon to help him edit it. But this was something that was done with scribes, and it was a lot of work. They already had a plan. Again, King James, Mason, right? Sir Francis Bacon, who edited the Bible, considered one of the fathers of Freemasonry. The book is super coded, as I showed you guys. So that's something to take into consideration as well. But as far as him being black, the evidence that's out there doesn't really support it. We have portraits of him that was painted during his time, meaning he was standing there when a person was painting the portrait, and he's white, clearly, in the portrait. So it's just a matter of what you want to believe or not believe. And it's better for us that he's not black, to be honest with you, because imagine a brother doing this, basically being a king over our slavery. A black dude? Like, come on. And then here's the thing, like, if he was, do you think these fucking white people would miss the opportunity of pointing that shit out?
Right.
They would be everywhere. Oh, well, King James was a black king. He didn't want to enslave your asses. It would be everywhere. And people say, well, no, they don't want us to know that there were black kings during that time. Dude, the North was free. We know there was intelligent black people in the North. We know that black people invented a lot of stuff. I mean, look at freaking Egypt or what have you. Look at all the kingdoms in Africa. It's already proven. So we know we had intelligence and kingdoms before the King James Version, right? Before the Bible. So we could say what we want. We could say they tried to hide what they wanted to hide. None of this stuff goes back to prove that the man was black. And if he was, why would I follow that doctrine? My thing is this. Okay, so if he's black and this dude putting out this Bible around this time, but meanwhile in America, they're enslaving all these black people and they hate our guts. So why would the white people in the colonies in America accept a biblical book from a black king when they fucking killing and raping his people? That don't make sense. Why would they accept that book when they're putting out to the people that we're not even human, right? So we're going to accept our God and a book from a black guy? It don't make sense. Then you have to think about who owned the printing press. Who was out there printing these books? Find me a printing house that existed during that time that was owned by a black man, right? Can't find one. Right? So, Johann Gutenberg, print press. First thing that was printed was a Bible. So the very first thing that was printed by a white man. Right? And we can't prove that a black man was out there printing Bibles, giving them to white people to use to give to us in slavery. It's just stupid. It don't make sense. So it's like, when you argue this, man, you're hurting yourself, because it just makes you look bad. And it makes us look bad for even accepting it. So the people that's on the fence about the religion, the Black Hebrews, and I'm doing this video because it's just growing. I thought I stomped this shit out, but it's still growing and spreading. It's because it's not enough information out there. I'm one person. It's not enough people out there putting the information out to really combat it. So it spread and it grows. There's more people than me and a few other people that talk about this. There's more people that's for the doctrine than against the doctrine. It's not enough knowledge out there to get people to really come out of it. Because again, when you listen to the doctrine, it sounds good. It sounds good. It's good for black people because it kind of fills in that whole understanding of why we are so fucked up, right? Because they believe we are cursed. And it's like, but damn, black people, we can't get ahead for shit. Because, okay, yeah, it makes sense. We're cursed, right? But we're not fucking cursed. No, the dumbest thing to believe. But I get it, I understand. But the King James part of it is something that they want to use to make you feel like that this is something that was done by a black man for you to accept the book more so. Because they know that proven history tells us that Ptolemy II Philadelphus is the one who gave us the Septuagint Greek. And before that, no black man had nothing to do with anything biblical, right? And he wasn't black. He's a Greek, right? So there's no black manuscript or proven black manuscript that predates the Septuagint Greek or predates anything Roman as far as biblical doctrines. Doesn't predate the Vetus Latina, doesn't predate the Latin Vulgate, doesn't predate any of the codices from a black man, right? I can't even think of a black man that printed the Bible ever. I can't even think of one. Like, I'm trying to rack my brain just now thinking like, damn, nigga had to print a Bible at some point, right? All we did was get it and preach it.
Right.
I can't think of one black dude that printed a Bible, and I just can't think of one, especially when it's famous, right? So you gotta look at all this. Like I said, man, do your research and just think about like what the doctrine is putting out, what these people are saying to you, and ask yourself, does that sound right?
Exactly.
Right? It don't sound like it's something still off about it, because at the end of the day, you still got to accept this book.
So what would you say to a person who's still confused about the Israelite doctrine, besides what you already said already?
Yeah.
And how could you get them to understand?
Yeah. Good question. Because a lot of people still be confused, because we talk about a lot in this video. It's a lot to get into. And, you know, it's not so much about what I can say to you. It's always going to come down to you and your faith and what you want to believe in. Because you guys already know, you could talk to a Christian or a Muslim till you blue in the fucking face, and they're just not going to change their ways, because 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 to a lot of people. It just don't. That shit equals 12 or 7, right? So it's like the people who come to you and like try to ask you questions about this, I always tell you guys, make sure you know your shit. Make sure you know what you're talking about and you can back it up or what have you, and they'll listen to you more. Like, so when because I get this a lot of people, you know, that's into this doctrine, they got questions, and I always tell them to just do your research, man. Just go back, because nothing's better than doing your research yourself. And you
find it out for yourself.
Yeah, find out for yourself, because then it's like, nobody told me this shit. I went and I did the research, and boom, this is what I found. Because if you're a person that's going to accept what you're being told, you're always going to have questions, right? You got to go out and answer those questions on your own, because you will be your own master in that way, right? It's a teacher and there's a master. At some point, the student has to become the teacher. He has to become a master on his own. The only way you can do that is to go out and get everything, right? Learn everything, research everything, answer those questions you got, and then come to your own conclusion on your own, because you guys already know, a person can tell you a movie sucks 1,000,000 times. Until you see it yourself, you're not going to know. You be like, man, he said that shit was corny. I'm not even going to see it. And then you see the movie 10 years later, like, God damn it, this movie was I should have been saw this movie.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's like, you can't accept, you know, what people are telling you, right? Even me. So, you know, I always tell people, hey, you know, read the Bible, do your research, look at what people saying, write that shit down, and just, you know, go from there. Because at the end of the day, you're going to come to the point where you're not going to accept that shit. It's just going to be like, no, this is stupid. And I always tell you guys, when you read the Bible and you get to 2 Samuel, you're done. Because the dumbest shit is like, up to 2 Samuel, it's like, I'm done with this book. There's no way in the world these people are smart. They got to be the dumbest people on the planet to go through everything that Hebrew Israelites went through and still be defying God. Right? Like, these people that seen the power of Moses, this nigga that parted the sea, you seen the power of Elijah, and you still not believing this shit? Like, how are you still disobeying God? It don't make sense. Like, it don't make sense. And you know, us as black folks, we so spiritual. We drop to our knees at anything holy. You think we would be this defiant to God after witnessing his power? No, it don't fit for us in that aspect. So I tell people, hey, go do your research, really study, really get into it, and you'll figure it out on your own.
So what would you say to a black Hebrew and try to get him to understand like what he believes is wrong?
Yeah, I know. That's a tough one too, because those guys fight, man. You guys know. Black Hebrews, I mean, it's impossible. Good luck. Because like, they'll say to you, I was just talking to my son about this, they'll say to you the reason why, and I said this earlier, the reason why you can't believe what I believe is because God hasn't given you the spirit of belief, right? God hasn't touched you and put a spirit on you to get you to believe what I believe. I've been touched by God. That's why I believe. And they'll feel so good about that. They feel like that's what's really going on. That man, I'm the man because God made me believe, and I believe this because God touched me. He ain't touch you. Why God ain't touch you? Maybe something wrong with you, bro. So and they'll be into that, and they'll feel good about that. But it's not realistic. It's not realistic, and it's like they live in this world where that holds up, and that belief and that feeling. I mean, imagine walking around believing some stupid shit and believing that God touched you and made you believe it. And the reason why everybody else can't agree with your stupid ass is because God hasn't touched them, right? And you just running with that.
Right.
How you going to defeat that? You can't defeat that.
Exactly. You're not that special, brother.
It's tough. So, all jokes aside, what I say to these guys is one, because we're gonna go back and forth on our debate shit. We're going, hey, this was proven, that wasn't proven, this is bullshit. Oh, did you read this verse? We're gonna go back and forth on that. And at the end of the day, as I said before, it's gonna come down to the conclusion of faith, right? At the end of the day, I'm gonna have my facts, I'm gonna have what's been proven, and you're gonna have your Bible, and you have to believe and have faith in that book. I do not.
Exactly.
Right? I don't have to have faith in that book. I can point out what's been proven and what's not been proven, which none of the shit's been proven, right? And we can go from there. So it's like, not so much as what can I say to them? It's about like just presenting, what you know, and they let them, be respectful always. Let them present what they know, and then either he's going to accept what you're saying, because you're not going to accept what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah, definitely. Sure.
And, or not. And you're just going to go from there. But, I've had, and I said this before to you guys, I had so many dope dialogues with Black Hebrews, Christians and Muslims as well. Sometimes you meet people and it's just about the knowledge, and they can walk away still believing what they want to believe in. And, you go from there. It's just a meeting of the knowledge, and we leave it like that. And unless, to me, I'm not wasting my time on no debate. I kick my knowledge, they kick theirs, and we go from there. But unless the debate ends with them converting, there's no point. And I told this one guy, one Hebrew, that I was like, okay, we can have a debate if you want to, but at the end, when I prove my point, you got to convert. And he didn't want to do it. And so it's no point in me doing it to sit up there and have a verbal argument with somebody, and he's meow, 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 meow. Everything you say sounds like, you're not even listening to it. It's like talking to a brick wall. Right. So he's not accepting it, because I've had that happen to where I'm killing it. And it's like, yo, how you going to come back from that, son? And then he still tries to come back. Like, did you not hear what I said? There's no coming back from that. And there's still what the Lord said. Let me go through this verse. What? Like, I just crushed all that. They don't care, man. It's what happens, and what you guys know you deal with when you're dealing with religious people. And I wanted to do this video again because, like, I have so many emails and people who ask me about this. You guys know I got a bunch of videos online about this whole thing, but it's growing. It's spreading more. We're getting towards what people say is this whole end times bullshit, and everybody getting, you're scary. Oh, Trump's going to cut food stamps, and the world is going to end. Oh, cut food stamps? Yeah, right. But it's getting crazy out here, and people still want to hold on to that doctrine because, like my son was saying before, like you see the Black Hebrews, they always militant. Right. They always marching or trying showing, strength, unity and Black power, or what have you, to get more Black people to join. Like, hey, these guys look organized. And that's what really gets people. It's the organization of them. Exactly. But, organization and stupidity are two different things, man. I mean, how can you sit there and be organized and say we're this and we're that, but you believe in talking snakes and donkeys, man? Like, it don't make sense. You can't sit there and be serious and try to have a serious conversation with me, and you believe in talking snakes and donkeys. You believe a man can survive 3 days in a big fish. You believe that flying fire chariots can be flown around, and dudes can walk on water, turn water into wine, but can't save themselves from 2 boars and some nails.
It doesn't make sense.
It's just like, it's so much stuff is like, okay, but we believe in this, right? It don't make sense. It's just crazy to me. But, we joke. But like, in all seriousness, I know there's a lot of people who are confused out there, and they just looking for somewhere to turn with and get right information. And the only place you're really going to accept it wholeheartily is yourself, right? And that's exactly what the Bible is telling you. Look to yourself, believe in yourself, or what have you. Just the information is in you, God is in you. Everything you're looking for is within yourself. And if you be true to yourself and you go out, you do the research or what have you, you'll be fine, right? You know, you got people like me and other people out here that's trying to put our information to help you guys out. It's up to you guys to accept it or not. But yeah, you know, we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to keep on putting our information. These videos are going to keep coming out as long as these people still talk shit.
Right.
I'm going to be back talking shit too. We going to get into it. But yeah, we want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Make sure you guys, links are in the description. People still trying to join the society. Remember, guys that's in the society, make sure you have until Monday to make sure you reserve. Also, when books come back out, I got you guys. The links will be back up. But I appreciate everybody who those books sold out fast. And they already shipped out. So you guys are good. So I'll put the link up when the next ones become available. We just wanted to do a test run. One, to see if the support to be there. One, but two, to just see how fast we can get everything out. And everything's out already. So when the next round is out, I'll let you guys know. And yeah, we appreciate the support.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for taking the time to watch. Peace.
Peace. See ya.